Welcome to the Michigan Golfer Show. Join us each week as we explore the people, the places, and the events that shape our great game.
Good afternoon. I'm here to introduce the winner of the Bruce Matthews Lifetime Achievement Award. This award is presented to an individual or organization that, over the span of a lifetime, has provided steadfast leadership, outstanding service, and continuous commitment to the Michigan golf industry. The award is named after the first award recipient, Mr. Matthews, whose expertise you can see spread throughout the fairways of Michigan.
Hi, I'm Jack Berry, and we're here with Jerry Matthews, who has an enormous, wonderful world of stories and getting into the golf business in Michigan. It was started by his father in the way back, and W. Bruce Matthews is in the Michigan Golf Hall of Fame. He's been honored by the Michigan Golf Course Owners Association.
This is my dad in the office at Green Ridge Country Club outside of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Taken about 1944 and mid-40s, and at that time when he was the manager superintendent at Green Ridge, and I think he also spent some time in the pro shop because times were pretty lean then. This is a picture of the clubhouse area at Green Ridge Country Club, taken probably in the early 40s. The driving range is out that way, the golf course is out that way, and that's where my dad was the manager superintendent for 27 years, and that's the world that I got into the golf business in, starting to rake bunkers for $1 an hour. Oh, here's a picture of the American Society of Golf Course Architects annual meeting in 1980, and happens to be at the Glen Eagles Hotel in Scotland, which is where the Ryder Cup was just finished up, and somewhere in there is my picture of myself, and my dad is somewhere right there, 1980. This is my dad receiving his Senior Citizen Award from the American Society of Golf Course Architects at our annual meeting. And this is myself over here, and that is a gentleman from Chicago. I can't remember his name. I wish I could. This is a picture of my father receiving an award by the Michigan Golf Course Owners Association, which they were kind enough to label the W. Bruce Matthews Award for all his work in golf throughout the years, and that was in 1999.
Original thought, stick-to-itness, courage, determination are just a few of the adjectives that describe today's recipient. From humble beginnings as school teacher in northern Michigan to the architect and leader of the world's largest golf tournament, the Oldsmobile Scramble. It's a story we can all learn from and respect. Golf has been a part of Dick Narn's life since he started as a caddy at the age of 11, and from the caddy shack to high school and college golf. Dick was an active participant with a low handicap and a nagging idea that there was a place for every golfer in a tournament that could be both challenging and fun. He was right. Dick did not waver in his resolve to create something new and unique in golf, though it took him 13 years to launch the Scramble. Patience, persistence, and a strong belief in his objective ultimately prevailed. And if one needs convincing, let's just say that in pursuit of his goal, he visited more than 5,000 golf courses, and before it was over, some 2 million golfers were direct beneficiaries of his vision. Though Dick and the Scramble had crossed paths with my dad in handy comp in the past, my first interaction with Dick was 2 years ago as we did back-to-back presentations for this very group. And what I've learned since is that within Dick, the creative fire still burns. So I'm proud to introduce, and the Michigan Golf Course Owners Association recognizes and celebrates the lifetime achievements in golf by our good friend, Mr. Dick Narn.
One of the questions that people come up with is, how do you ever get something like the Oldsmobile Scramble started? Because it is an unusual animal, as I found out over the years. First of all, most of the companies have a policy that they do not accept guys like me to do business with them. You have to go through their agency to get in the door with most of the companies. Well, that's very hard to do because they're set up to screen you out so they get all the business and you don't get it. So just imagine if you are a 440-pound, no lie, school teacher from northern Michigan, and I'm walking into the Avenues of America down in New York City, say, hey, you want to buy a golf tournament? It did, you know, I don't think they really took me seriously. We sent out that year 560 Mission Possible kits. Remember the Mission Impossible thing? It used to be a television show, so we made up these little kits and we put everything into a briefcase and we sent them out to everybody. 560 of them, I think. We got 554 no's. We got 6 people that allow us to come in and even make a presentation. So that's where you have to start with. Think about that, and think about the intimidation that goes along with trying to, you know, not have any background in promotion whatsoever, or advertising, or any of that kind of thing. You go up against the biggest people in the world, people who do the Olympics, or people who do the NCAA, or, you know, those kinds of things. Those are the people I was competing with. That was kind of, it was very different to me once I got into the business and then perceiving the business. So I want to just tell a few stories about how this happened. It was so funny. When I'd go out and I would talk to Walt Disney World, or I'd talk to the PGA of America, before I had a sponsor, I was, yeah, who are you? Dick Garn. Yeah, what you got? I got a golf tournament. Yeah, okay, see us sometime if you ever get a sponsor. The year I got, the very first year I got a sponsor, it was like I was their best buddy. I was out on their yachts, I was on their airplanes, I was there. So you have to have a sponsor to have a major event like the Oldsmobile Scramble take off. You have to have something, and it's not just the money. The money is essential, don't get me wrong, but it's also the reputation that they have. If you're a partner with GM, everybody assumes that you know what you're doing. Well, I got through that as best I could. One of the 6 companies that would allow me to come in and make a pitch turned out to be Buick. And Buick, I went all the way from, I think we were in Coldwater then, went from Coldwater to Chicago. I waited for 3 or 4 hours to talk to the guy from Buick. The guy from Buick turned me down in less than 5 minutes. And I thought that was just terribly rude of him to do that. And I sort of responded, I didn't know how to respond because I'd taken all that time to go over there and see him. Well, anyway, the rudeness paid off, because on the way out the door, he said, you know what? He says, I don't think we got a use for it at Buick, but Oldsmobile is just up the road in Lansing. Why don't you give them a call? And that's how I got into the Oldsmobile, and that's how I got the Oldsmobile Scramble as far. By the way, it took 2.5 years after that meeting with Buick before I got Oldsmobile to say yes. And the guy I was selling at Oldsmobile's name was Butch Bunker. I thought there had to be a connection there with golf, so I stood on that really hard. So, after 2.5 years of calling on Butch, and finally, I get this call, which says, we have a meeting set up with you with all of the big guys at Oldsmobile. And it's going to be on the 6th floor. And you're going to get to make your pitch. You're going to have as much time as you want. And I'm just excited. I mean, this has been 13 years now. 2.5 years with just Oldsmobile, 13 years altogether trying to figure out a way to get into these guys and give them to be my sponsor. So we get up on the 6th floor. I come in just when they told me to, about 2 minutes early. They pulled me in, Butch introduced me, and I shook hands with everybody. I took my seat, and my seat broke and went right flat on the ground. Just as hard as you can imagine. You can hear it all over the building. In fact, there might have been a little earthquake. I think the fact that I fell on my butt on that 6th floor meeting, and them feeling bad for me, is what got me my original. I absolutely think that's what happened. you know, you could see them sort of smile at you, and I didn't react too bad, and they were nervous I was going to overreact or whatever, but that was Butch Bunker, so I always thought his name was good. Then one other thing happened to me, and then I'll get back to the original thing. When I was running the scramble, and I thought it was, and there's a long personal story in there. I got sick sort of in the middle of it and had to sell out just because of some problems. But I thought of the scramble as being something that golf almost owned itself, because it was such a valuable property. If we could figure out how to do it, how to get the handicap system working really good, and a few other things, it would be good for golf forever. There's nothing like the scramble format to help getting golfers on the course when you got new golfers and the whole, you know, how that all works. So there was a guy that came to my 9th or 10th Open Scramble National Finals, and we had I think 140,000 players that year, and we had 2,538 golf courses that participated in the tournament. My venue was Walt Disney World. And by the way, we had a relationship with Walt Disney World Oakville Golf Classic. We were doing an LPGA event in Lansing, and on it went. And it was all because of this relationship. This guy flew in he was from Seattle area, I think. He was about my age. He was maybe 65, getting close to 70. And he took me aside and he said, you know, that your tournament is the most important thing that's ever happened to me in my entire life. I said, how can that possibly be? You're obviously a multi-millionaire. You've done all kinds of things. You've run this great business and stuff. And he said, the Oldsmobile Scramble has allowed me to play with my buddies for another 10 years. I've gotten so I can't hit it over a couple hundred yards if I had the very best shot that I had. And he said, now because of the scramble and because I can putt and chip pretty good, my team still want me. I'm still an attractive team member, and that's extended my golf club. And I found out later it was probably the G5 that he flew around in that took him from site to site to site. They got him more invitations than maybe his golf club. But the last year he played, and this guy, and we have just terrific stories, wild stories about people that came that rented or sold their motorhome to be a part of the scramble, and other ones that flew down in their jets to be a part of the scramble. People that changed their wedding dates to be a part of the scramble. We didn't get involved in too many of those, but it was pretty scary. But in the last year he played in the tournament, on the 17th hole of his local tournament, he had chipped in about an 80-footer that was impossible to chip in. Everybody on his team said it was impossible. He chipped it in, and that allowed him to go to the sectional. When he got to the sectional, he was the 5th guy. He was known as a putter and a chipper. He couldn't hit it out of the shadow, but he could do that. And so when he got to the 18th hole, he had a curling downhill 22-footer that curled away from him. And he knocked it right in the hole and got to go to the finals. And that's how he and I met. And he said, what he said about the scramble then, made me be a believer that grassroots golf, that that kind of golf that I'm talking about is hugely important to your future. And I hope that through Kate's group and all the groups that you really take it to heart that that's just an important part of our legacy, that we can really bring golf to everybody. They go out their back door and they can play in a national tournament. That's just an awesome thing. Thank you.